there is a fear deeper than failure. It is the fear of being seen when you are not ready. The world tells you to show up, to post, to speak, to prove yourself. But what if the fastest way to become someone worth seeing is to disappear first? Not forever, just long enough to find yourself. Today, I want to tell you a story about a young man who chose to vanish, and when he returned, no one recognized him. Not because his face changed, but because his soul had. There was a young man named Leo. Leo lived in a city that never stopped talking. Trains screeching, people shouting, screens glowing, and Leo was lost. Not lost like he didn't know the way home. Lost like he didn't know who he was at home. Every day, he woke up, scrolled through perfect lives on his phone, compared, felt small, went to a job that meant nothing, came home, ate, slept, repeated. He smiled when people talked. He nodded when colleagues joked. But inside, Leo felt like a ghost wearing a human costume. One night, he looked in the mirror and asked himself the most dangerous question. If I died tomorrow, would anyone really know who I was? The silence screamed back at him. The next morning, Leo made a decision that terrified him. He told no one. He packed one bag, old clothes, a notebook, a pen. He left his phone on the table, and he walked out the door. No goodbye party, no social media post, no taking a break for my mental health announcement. He just disappeared. His friends noticed after 3 days. Has anyone heard from Leo? His boss noticed after a week. His family noticed after 2. But Leo was already gone. Leo traveled far from the city, to a small village nestled between green mountains, a place where the loudest sound was the wind. He found a small wooden cabin. An old woman lived there, alone. White hair, kind eyes, deep wrinkles, like rivers on a map. Her name was Margaret. She asked no questions. She just pointed to a small room with a window facing the forest. Stay as long as you need. The first night, Leo sat on the floor. No phone, no TV, no noise, and for the first time in years, he heard himself breathe. The first 3 days were hard. Leo's mind screamed for distraction. It wanted noise. It wanted validation. It wanted to scroll, to compare, to escape. But there was nothing. Just Leo. And his thoughts. And his thoughts were not kind. You're running away. You're wasting your life. Everyone is moving forward while you sit in a forest. Leo almost left. He almost ran back to the city, back to the noise, back to the comfortable numbness. But one evening, Margaret knocked on his door. She handed him a cup of tea. Simple, warm. They sat in silence as the sun bled orange and pink across the sky. Then Margaret spoke, softly, like wind through leaves. Do you know why seeds grow best in darkness? Leo shook his head. Because if they could see the weight of the soil above them, they would be too scared to push through. She looked at him, not with pity, with knowing. You didn't run away, child. You buried yourself, so you could grow roots. Leo felt something crack inside him, not break. Crack, like soil before a sprout pushes through. The days that followed changed Leo. He woke with the sun. He walked without destination. He wrote in his notebook not for anyone to read, just to empty his mind. He watched ants work. He felt rain on his skin. He listened to birds argue over berries. And slowly, quietly, the voice in his head softened, not because he fought it, but because he stopped feeding it with noise. He stopped performing, stopped pretending, stopped asking, what will they think? For the first time in his life, Leo met the person living inside him, and that person was not weak, not boring, not lost. He was just tired from trying to be someone else. One night, by the fire, Leo asked Margaret, "How did you know I would find myself here?" Margaret smiled. Small, warm. "I didn't, but I know this. You cannot polish a stone while it's still in the river. You have to take it out, hold it in your hand, feel its weight, then decide what it wants to become." Leo looked at his hands. For years, he had let the river of the world shape him, the current of expectations, the rocks of comparison. But now, he was holding himself, and he realized he was not a stone to be polished. He was the hand holding the stone. After 3 months, Leo knew it was time. He packed the same bag, same clothes, same notebook, now full. Margaret stood at the door. "Will you come back?" Leo asked. She shook her head gently. "You won't need to." Leo hugged her, not like a stranger, like a grandson. Then he walked toward the bus, toward the city, toward the life he had left behind. But he was not the same Leo. The city was still loud. The screens still glowed. The people still compared. But Leo walked through it differently. He didn't need to prove anymore. He didn't need to perform. He didn't need the world to tell him who he was. Because in the silence of that forest, in the darkness of that cabin, he had found himself. Here is what Leo learned. Disappearing is not cowardice, it is courage. It takes more strength to sit alone with your truth than to perform for a crowd. We are afraid of silence because silence asks us the hard questions. Who are you without your job? Who are you without your followers? Who are you when no one is watching? If you cannot answer those questions, you are not really living. You are just reacting. So disappear for a while. Not forever. Just long enough to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Go where no one knows your name. Sit with yourself. Listen, and when you return, return as yourself. Not who they expected. Not who you pretended to be, but who you actually are. Leo still lives in the city, but a part of him never left that forest. Whenever the noise gets too loud, he closes his eyes, and he goes back to the silence. Back to the cabin. Back to the version of himself that doesn't need applause to exist. You don't need a forest to disappear. You just need the courage to be still. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Disappear from the world for just 5 minutes and meet yourself again. If this story touched you, like, share, and subscribe for more wisdom stories.